I mean, I had a friend comment to me. He goes, Perry, I could just like totally see you being the professor riding his bicycle across the campus and teaching classes and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, well, I do research and teach classes. Like, this is what I do now for a living. I could totally see that. And I love the idea, especially the classical idea of a university. But I'm really disappointed in what universities have become because they've almost completely lost touch with their roots. And specifically, what they've lost touch with is the questions of like, what is a well-lived life, and what are the real questions of life, and what should you really be striving for, and how do you learn how to think? And what colleges are now doing is they're not teaching you how to think, they're teaching you what to think. And it's like all these politically correct things, and what they do is they read ancient literature, but they read it with this modern critical eye. Hey, everybody, we're going to look for the misogyny, and we're going to look for the patriarchy, and we're going to look for the biases, and they totally overlook the wisdom that's in all this literature, and the questions that it's really wrestling with. And I'm especially talking pre-Gutenberg, okay? Because like that's where like that's the top 1% of the top 1% is the stuff written before Gutenberg, because it's lasted for centuries and millennia, and it kept civilization going for centuries and millennia, compared to, our civilization. Everybody knows that we could be on the brink of destroying the entire planet in a whole bunch of ways, like not just one way. I mean, it could be nuclear weapons, it could be the environment. Like, I don't know that we're really doing such a good job, and I don't really know that we're as smart as we think we are. And we're certainly not as good at wrestling with the most fundamental questions of life, as people were 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000, 2,000 years ago. And so I'm really unhappy with what it has degenerated into. They have butchered the humanities. And so and that wasn't the case where and when I went to school. I think I really got a classical education at the University of Nebraska. And literally 70, 80, 90% of what I learned in school is still useful now, because it was very fundamental. It was very classical. And I didn't even realize at the time how my teachers were prioritizing, but the really good ones were doing that. And I said, listen, I said, Cuyler, your job is for the like between 20 and 30 is to build your foundation. And I said, let me give you a word. The word is phronesis, Phronesis, phronesis. And it's this old Greek word, and it describes practical wisdom that is oriented towards moral virtue. In other words, knowing what to prioritize, knowing what's important, knowing how to get things done, and how to make sure you're doing the right things and not the wrong things. I said, your mission from 20 to 30 in your unschooling education, like, you need to keep like sucking down those audiobooks and reading the pre-Gutenberg stuff and honing your mind and learning how to think. That is absolutely what you should be doing for the next 10 years. And hey, yeah, if you build some great business or whatever, great. But listen, when you go to one of our roundtable meetings, nobody's expecting you, to be running a $3 million business.